There is a house that costs almost nothing to build. It stays cool at 50 degrees without air conditioning. It can be packed up and moved in under 3 hours, and it has been doing all of this for 4,000 years. It is not made of concrete, not steel, not glass. It is made of goat hair, and right now, somewhere in the deserts of Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Syria, a family is sitting inside one, drinking coffee, completely at home. Today, we are going inside the world of the Bedouin, and we are going to find out why they never left the tent. The word Bedouin comes from the Arabic Badawi. It means simply desert dweller. There are approximately 30 million Bedouin people today, living across the deserts of the Middle East and North Africa, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt, Libya, Syria. Different groups, different dialects, different histories, but one thing in common: a relationship with the desert that no other culture on earth has developed. To most people, the desert is an obstacle, a harsh environment to be crossed, endured, escaped. To the Bedouin, it is home, not metaphorically, not poetically, literally. The rhythms of the desert, its dangers, its resources, its beauty, are known in the body, understood without thinking. The way a musician knows a piece of music they have played 10,000 times. The tent is the physical expression of this relationship. A traditional Bedouin tent, called a Beit al-Shar, the house of hair, is made from the woven hair of black goats. This material is not chosen for tradition, not for aesthetics. It is chosen because it works better than almost anything else. In a desert environment, in the heat of the day, the woven goat hair allows air to circulate through millions of tiny gaps between the fibers. This creates a constant flow of moving air inside the tent that keeps the temperature several degrees cooler than the air outside. Without electricity, without mechanical systems, without any energy cost whatsoever. When it rains, the goat hair fibers swell and tighten, sealing the gaps, making the tent waterproof. The same material, two opposite behaviors, perfectly matched to two opposite conditions. No engineer designed this. No laboratory tested it. It was discovered through thousands of years of living in a desert and paying close attention to what worked and what did not. The tent can be erected by an experienced family in under 2 hours, dismantled in roughly the same time. It fits onto a small number of camels for transport. When the family arrives at a new location, the tent goes up, and the home exists again, in a new place, under a new sky, but functionally identical to the home it was before. This is not primitive. This is brilliant. The Bedouin day begins before the heat arrives, because once the heat arrives, everything slows. The animals are moved to whatever grazing is available. In a desert, this means moving constantly to find it. Young men and older boys walk miles through terrain that most people would not cross by choice, in heat that begins building before the sun is fully up. The women manage the camp. They make the coffee. They prepare the food. They maintain the tent. They receive guests. In Bedouin culture, the management of hospitality is not a domestic task in the diminished sense. It is a skilled and socially essential role that holds the entire community together. Water is managed with precision that approaches obsession. Every Bedouin family knows the location of every reliable water source within their territory. They know which wells are seasonal and which are permanent. They know the signs of rain coming from a distance, the color of clouds, the behavior of animals, the smell in the air before moisture arrives. This knowledge is not academic. It is the difference between managing your water correctly and running out in a place where running out means dying. Food in the Bedouin world is both practical and ceremonial. The daily diet centers on three things: dates, camel milk, and bread. Dates are the perfect desert food, calorie-dense, long-lasting, requiring no preparation, growing naturally in the environment. A handful of dates provides enough energy for hours of physical work. Camel milk is drunk fresh, several times a day, providing protein, fat, and vitamin C in quantities that prevent the nutritional deficiencies that a desert environment would otherwise cause. Bread is made from wheat or barley flour, mixed with water and salt, flattened and baked directly on hot coals. The process takes minutes. The result is filling, versatile, and can be eaten with anything or nothing. When guests arrive, and in Bedouin culture, guests always arrive, the food becomes ceremonial. The coffee pot comes out first. Cardamom-spiced kahwa, poured into small handleless cups, refilled without asking, until the guest signals they have had enough. By tilting the cup, dates follow. Then, if the guest stays, a meal is prepared. Slow-cooked lamb or camel on a vast communal platter of rice, scattered with pine nuts and raisins, fragrant with spices. The host serves. The guest eats. The host does not eat until the guest has finished. This is not performance. This is law. Ancient, unwritten, absolute. A guest is protected for 3 days and 3 nights. No questions asked about their origin, their purpose, their background, food, shelter, safety. For 3 days. Only after 3 days may a host politely ask who they are and where they are going. In a desert where a traveler without shelter faces death, this tradition is not social convention. It is survival infrastructure. It is the network of safety that allowed people to travel across enormous distances through some of the most inhospitable land on Earth, knowing that if they reached a tent, they would be safe. The tent made this possible. A permanent building in a fixed location cannot serve these functions in the same way. A family that settles permanently loses the ability to follow the grazing, to move toward water, to respond to the desert's constant shifts. The tent is not a limitation. It is a capability. The modern world arrived at the edges of Bedouin territory, gradually, and then suddenly, oil wealth transformed the Arabian Peninsula in ways that had no historical precedent. Permanent housing was built, roads crossed the desert, electricity reached places that had never had it. Governments in several countries actively encouraged or required Bedouin communities to settle permanently. Many did. And with the apartment came the supermarket. And with the supermarket came processed food, sugar, flour, soft drinks. The same story we saw with the Inuit. The same story we saw with the Maasai. Within 1 generation, rates of diabetes and obesity began rising in communities that had been characterized for centuries by lean physicality and remarkable endurance. The dates are still growing on the same palms. The camels are still there. The knowledge is still there. But the choice changed everything. Some did not settle, and among those who maintain the nomadic life, or a version of it, something remains, not unchanged. The pickup truck has largely replaced the camel. For long-distance transport, the satellite dish appears alongside the tent, but the tent itself is still there, still made of goat hair, still erected in 2 hours, still cooled by the same physics that cooled it 4,000 years ago. There are young Bedouin people today who choose to return to the tent after experiencing city life. They speak of disconnection, of eating food that tastes like nothing, of bodies that feel wrong in ways they cannot fully explain. And they speak of the desert with something that sounds like grief. They come back, not because they failed in the city, not because the modern world rejected them, because when they compare what the city offers with what the tent offers, the tent wins. Not for everyone, not always, but for enough people that the tent is still standing, still moving, still going up in 2 hours, in a new place, under the same stars. The desert has not changed. The sun still rises over the same sand. The temperature still reaches 50 degrees in the afternoon. The stars still appear with the same brilliant clarity they have had over this landscape for longer than human memory extends. And inside the tent, right now, a family is sitting with their coffee, listening to the wind move over the desert, completely at home. Maybe the question was never why they still live in tents. Maybe the question is why the rest of us ever thought walls were better. If this way of life speaks to something in you, if you have ever sat in a room with 4 walls and felt something missing, subscribe to Hidden Ways of Living. Every week, we go deeper. The Inuit hunters, the Mongolian nomads, the Maasai warriors, and now the Bedouin, still out there, still moving, and their stories are waiting for you.